class warfare the only resort to right wing doom? It's worth it. How to talk to your right wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. And of course, good morning to the world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet, created by We the People, formerly known as ARPANET. We're going to have a great show for you today. Today, we have a special guest that's going to be our first topic. We're going to get to that in a minute. But beforehand, we have to go to the geniuses in LS Studio. Sorry about the voice, folks. I'm getting over a cold I got. I'm still going to go out there to my buddy and tell him, you brought me to give a little speech at your place and you guys gave me a cold. But I love you anyway. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great, great, great show. Let's get to the studio with Senor Jack Van Beber and Mayana.
Good morning. Good morning, Egberto. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning, Miana,
Everybody out there.
in Radio Land.
Right.
Oh, listen to you in Radio Land. Hey, Mayana, Jack is trying to put on a sexy voice. He's like, you heard what he
Oh,
did there,
baby.
right?
Yeah, I see. Good pointing it out.
Anyway,
Okay.
what's up,
Let me.
guys?
I'm gonna read your headlines, man. They're good today.
Talk
Nina
to me.
Nina Turner delivered a passionate rebuke of neoliberalism and corporate politics during a panel discussion, calling out both Republicans and Democrats for ignoring the will of the working Americans. She reminded the audience that Medicare for all, universal child care, and paid family leave are not radical but mainstream desires that serve the majority of Americans. Turner's response highlighted how the political establishment, including figures like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, remain out of touch with the economic struggles of ordinary people. Nina Turner defended democratic socialism as a reflection of American values, not foreign ideology. She scrutinized neoliberalism's failures, pointing out the economic insecurity under both Democratic and Republican leadership. Turner reminded the panel that most Americans support Medicare for all, universal child care, and paid family leave. She highlighted the hypocrisy of labeling humane policies as socialist while the rich enjoy massive subsidies. Independent media was uplifted as the proper avenue for honest reporting free from corporate influence. Turner's message strikes at the moral heart of a modern American politics, where unapologetic advocacy for Medicare for all and basic economic dignity reveals how far neoliberal leaders have drifted from the people they claim to serve. In her voice, one hears the populist cry of working class America, those who labor, those who struggle, and demand justice in a system that's rigged to benefit the few.
You nailed
Period.
it. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my
No,
brother.
you
Anyway,
nailed it.
okay.
You nailed. That's your stuff. You nailed it.
Well, I mean, well, you said it so perfectly. Let's put it that way. Look, anything else, Mayana, you want to add before we get started?
Just about the subsidies. Like I don't know if you saw, but I had sent you something about like how much Elon Musk is paying for his Tesla plant in New York State.
Hmm.
He's paying $1 a
One
year,
dollar. Yeah.
one
Yeah.
dollar for the year for a
Yes.
plant,
Yes.
a Tesla plant.
Yes.
And if people don't believe in free health care or, giving, money for whatever, when, I don't, welfare, etc., what the heck does our new trillionaire now need with $1 a year plant
Yeah.
in one
Let me
of the
tell you,
richest states where
you're
he can be
absolutely
paying taxes and like all this other stuff?
You're so right. But let me just say one thing, Mayana, because I always
Yeah.
say that the one problem that we as progressives have is the way we say things, right? When we talk about free healthcare, we're not talking about really free healthcare. We're talking about collective healthcare that all of us are paying for with our taxes.
Right.
It's just at the point of delivery you don't pay, but we pay it all. Look, you, Mayana, every paycheck that you get, you
Right.
pay 3 point something percent in Medicare. That goes
Oh,
into the
absolutely.
healthcare system. So you are
Hmm.
paying for it, sister. Jack is paying
Absolutely.
for it.
That's what
I am paying
taxes
for
and
it.
representation.
There you go, sis. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I
All
want to
right.
give a big salute to Lisa Blair in Atlanta, Georgia. Our people are coming in now on the other chat. Likewise, Lynette. Lynette is in the house. We also have Judy, Richard Sylvester, Gail 175, Chris Lindenberg, Noleni. Thank you all for being here. We have more coming in, and I'll salute you as you come. Don't forget, if you want me to call you out, leave your city and state. Look, this morning I'm going to start not from our prepared newsletter, but I'm going to start from talking about immigration somewhat. As you know, you see all the nasty stuff these criminals, these legal criminals, these thugs are doing it. Max thugs are doing in Chicago and other places, beating people up, throwing them into cars, throwing them down. Yesterday, they went and they arrested a teacher on her way to school, where all her students could see her being arrested and manhandled like a criminal. That's what our government has revolved into. Well, recently, our good friend Lizzie, welcome Lizzie to Politics Done Right. How you doing, sis?
I'm so glad to be with you. Thank you so much.
Well, let me tell you, we are glad to have you here. I think this was a post that you recently put on our on our Facebook or something that got some traction, but it is I mean it is important for people to know. Tell us a little bit about you, and then let's go into what you did.
I, Thank you again for letting me be on the show. Hi, Mayana. Hi, Jack. Good morning to you both. Uh, Essentially, I volunteered to produce a show on Fridays at 9:30 a.m. on KPFT. It's a call-in show, and it's the same number as Egberto's, and I invite everybody to call in
Yes,
about
go ahead. Tell us
immigration.
about your show. Yeah.
Why did I do this? The reason I did this is because the news is coming out at the rate of a fire hose instead of a little garden hose. There's so much information. Um, it is hard to digest, which is of course by design.
Hmm.
When you create chaos, you can get away with a lot more. You can divert the attention of the public from things that are really horrible happening. So my main goal in this program is to give out some essential resources, not to be the expert because I'm not an immigration lawyer, Egberto, and I'm not I don't work for an immigration advocacy firm. I'm a retired high school administrator. So my main goal was to give out resources so that if people have a question, they know where to go. Would it be okay if I gave out a phone number right now?
Absolutely. This is what we're here for.
Okay. There is something called the Houston Immigration Hotline. It's answered in a wide variety of languages, of course, English and Spanish, but languages from the Democratic Republic of Congo, from the Chinese languages, Mandarin, Cantonese, etc. All the languages. It's answered 24/7. Of course, they guard your confidentiality as a caller. The number is 1-833-468-4664. 1-833-468-4664. Do I work for this organization? No, no, I don't. But I know it's an organization that will give out free and reliable information about what to do if you're facing some kind of a personal uh, challenge right now regarding immigration. So uh, I made a post because well, what happened was a couple of weeks ago, my daughter called me weeping, my adult daughter. She was on her way to my house to drop off my granddaughter. I care for my granddaughter 3 days a week. She was crying. She had seen something that she found shocking. When you see something on TV, there's a level of separation
Hmm.
that you might not fully grasp the emotional impact of something that's happening. But when you see it in person, it's a really different experience. And what she had witnessed was the tail end of a major raid. I live in southeast Houston, in the very near Woodridge and 610, where there's a Home Depot, and the raid was at Home Depot. And what she saw was women screaming and crying next to several work trucks that were now empty. And the narrative that she could put together that I think is true is that the drivers of those work trucks had gone to Home Depot to pick up,
Construction
ha-
supplies.
nails for their hammers, for their uh, whatever. And there had been a raid, and their partners and their wives had shown up later, and there were their empty work trucks, and these women were absolutely bereft, and it affected my daughter very much. So I thought to myself, I got it. When your children, I know you know this, Egberto, when your children get emotional, when your children feel hurt, you feel it 5 times
Hmm.
more,
Hmm.
you know? So I said, well, let me make sure to put the post of something called the red card and the number that I've already given on Facebook. And I called Marlo and asked her to put on the KPFT site. The KPFT Facebook site has received almost 1,000 comments and uh, almost 800 shares of that post. So it got some attention. Uh, I feel like I'm talking too much, Egberto. Do you want to?
No, no. I mean, not at all. I mean, you're providing us that information. In fact, I'd like you to tell us what's on the post as well.
Okay. What's on the post is something called the red card. The red card is a document, and it is a card like a business card sized little piece of cardstock that the design is that one would carry it in their purse or their wallet so that if they're faced with immigration agents, they can show the agents their red card. The red card only delineates the rights that a person has. A person, I didn't say citizen, I didn't say legal permanent resident, I said person. Persons have rights under the Constitution. So the red card was developed in the early 1970s, and it was part of something called Know Your Rights training for immigrants, which continues now and is happens at least weekly by organizations such as Fiel and other immigrant advocate organizations. It has again the rights, and it was. If you like, I will
Yeah, please
talk a
read
little
it.
bit about those
Yeah,
rights. Mhm.
please.
Okay. Well, the rights are they're the constitutional rights, and let me also say that the most frequent comment that I've seen in response to the post is that persons who are undocumented, sometimes called illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, whatever, persons who are undocumented are not protected by the Constitution. That is false. The Supreme Court, there's two major uh, cases.
Rulings.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm not an immigration attorney and I'm not a constitutional expert, but just for my own research, I found that there's two cases, Shaughnessy versus United States and Plyler versus Doe, which guarantees persons who are on this soil that there can be no deprivation of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Plyler holds that unlawfully present aliens are entitled to both due process and equal protection under the 14th Amendment. So, what's on the red card? I've got it here, and I'm scrolling down. I know that the first thing that's on the red card is that people have the right to remain silent, always. Obviously, when you're presented with someone that has a mask on and no indication of what law enforcement agency they're with, but they're demanding you to get on the ground, or they are threatening you with handcuffs and etc. And using very aggressive language. It's hard to stay silent, but you have the right to stay silent. If they arrive at the door, you have the right at your home, or they're knocking on the door, you have the right to not open the door. These are all things that are on the red card. Unless you must open the door unless you have unless they have a warrant that is signed that has your name on it. So if they came to my door and it says Lisi and it's signed by a judge, then they have to open the door. So many people believe that this is not true, that this is some kind of a progressive lie, or not even progressive lie, just immigrant sympathetic lie, and it simply is not. Um, I am looking for the red card. It's early in the morning. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, not a problem. Let me just say that I think it's important as you look. Let me just say this as people need to know what is really the right thing to do, because a lot of people that are getting arrested or thrown to the ground, they don't know what is the right thing for them to do, what is legal or what is just hearsay. And one of the reasons I think your show is so important, and also the post that you place on the Facebook at KPFT is so important, is that it actually points out to people these are the things that you must do. And again, if the agent doesn't follow these particular rules, then what? And I don't know. I'm going to leave that to you to explain. Continue, please, Lizzie.
Well, I don't know what. The only thing I can think of is that perhaps in the future there will be some kind of a reckoning. Perhaps these agents. Now, see, I really think this is so terrible, but I really think this is why they're wearing masks, so they can escape um, later retribution for really ghastly illegal behavior,
Well,
violent illegal behavior. Um,
the good thing about that
so
I like is that a lot of people are doing deep searches to find out who these thugs are, so that when we have a real administration that believes in the Constitution and believe in legalities, will really, like I've said in many of my shows, there must be all these criminals out there that are arresting people illegally, all these criminals out here, both in the Trump administration doing what they're doing. It is time for us to start amassing the information, because they must all pay a price. This fever is going to break. This fever is breaking. They will pay a price. Continue, sis.
do, well, I want to ask you a question. Sometimes I sometimes I wonder if there's going to be a time where there'll be a reckoning. Do you think there will be a reckoning?
Yes, there will be a reckoning. Let me tell you something, okay? And I speak to a whole lot of people. And yesterday, it's amazing you asked that, right? Because I was speaking to a woman at an protest yesterday, and she said, "Is this all for naught?" And I'm like, "No, it's not all for naught." And I said, "You want to know how I know that? Because we got in one cycle, not even in a half a cycle, what occurred in that election throughout the country. Everybody's concentrating on New York, Virginia, New Jersey, and California.
Right,
That
right.
is not where the majority, that's not where the real thing happened. The real thing happened in Georgia. The real thing happened in Mississippi. The real thing happened in these deep red states, where in when the full state had to vote on something, or where areas had to vote on something, that change occurred. And that has the right now in a panic, but it's too late, because the people have already woken up. This is going to get worse. In other words, the torment from the federal agents is going to get worse. The going to different places, it's going to get worse. But we have to keep the pressure on with the civil, peaceful protests that we're doing. We have to keep the pressure on, and the people have got to continue coming out to vote. We are winning this thing. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just emotionally exhausting, and I really understand that woman's fear, because sometimes I falter. Sometimes I think, oh my gosh, this is just, when is it
Hmm.
going to end, or is it going to end? So to review what's on the red card, which so many people on Facebook had huge problems with, but these are rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution, and were uh, sup- um, they were held up by the Supreme Court in those two landmark cases. Do not open the door if an immigration agent is knocking on the door. Don't answer any questions. Remain silent. Do not sign anything without first speaking with a lawyer. How do you find a lawyer? You call the Immigration Resource Hotline at 1-833 468 4664. Now, obviously, this is going to take, in that moment, you're not going to call the immigration hotline, because at that moment, it's a moment of crisis. So, what the Post said was, please prepare, particularly if you have children. In the case there's a family separation, there's got to be a plan. And unfortunately, we saw that family separations are, well, they happened in the first Trump administration, and they're happening now. Tragically, there are children that were separated from their families from the first Trump administration that have never been reunited with their families. I mean, is there any way to exaggerate the impact of that? I don't think so. I think these children's lives and the families' lives were destroyed. So, if you're outside your home, ask the agent if you're able to leave, and say yes and leave calmly. Please try to stay calm. The level of violence has been frightening, and staying calm might help the agents to also keep their vibrational level calm, and they will also stay calm. Uh, you may say, I do not wish you permission to search any of my belongings based on my Fourth Amendment rights, and I choose to exercise my constitutional rights. And again, you can show the card. So another thing that the people on the post, respondents for the post said, again, almost 1,000 comments, were, what difference is this card make? They're still going to hurt you. I guess my particular hope is that that the agents will take a breath, that they will uphold their promises as a law enforcement officer, as peace officers. You can talk about whether or not that's ironic or not, but you know, I believe people are fundamentally good, um, and perhaps this will add a layer of protection or give you a few minutes to get sort of your head together. Um, but the most important thing is to have a plan, particularly if you have children. Call 1-833-468-4664. They can help you develop the plan. They can help you find a lawyer if that's what you need. They can talk you through what your options are. The immigration law is really very complicated. There's lots of ways to have entered the country legally, and even um, have a visa overstay is considered a illegality. So there's lots of ways
A
to be
civil
illegal as well.
violation.
It's a civil violation. Uh-huh.
Yes.
So, but it's not being treated that way anymore as a civil violation. It's being treated as a serious criminal violation. Witness, of course, the fact that there is um, a proposed idea that undocumented people no longer are given bond. That's being argued in the courts. But think about it. You're a person on your way to work. Maybe you're a legal permanent resident. Maybe you're a
Even a
brown person
citizen.
who was born in this. Maybe you're a citizen. Maybe you're a brown person that was born in this country. You're on the way to work, and you're minding your own business and you're taken in. You don't have what is being proposed is that you don't have access to bond. It's being argued in the courts, but right now you're not given bond. It's really kind of amazing. ICE argues that people that have been picked up are not eligible to ask an immigration judge for release from detention on bond. So even if they have spent years inside the country living an upright, moral life, even as you say that they're citizens, um, they may not be given bond.
Yeah, well, that is sad. Let me ask you, Lizzie, to please go ahead and tell us, because I know you do a show every week where you cover these issues. Please tell folks how they can get to your show and talk to you every week.
It's on Fridays at 9:30 a.m. And the point of the show is not for me to talk, it's for my guests to speak. I hire immigration attorney, sorry, why did I say hire? I don't know why I said that. I ask to be on the show immigration attorneys. I don't hire anybody. Please, I don't know why that word came out of my mouth. I'm a volunteer. There's no money being exchanged between anyone. Um, I ask experts such as Cesar Espinosa Fiel, such as uh, Edgar from the ACLU, immigration attorneys, immigrant advocates, um, to come on the show and tell us what they know and tell us how we can all stay safe. 9:30 a.m. on KPFT, the same number as Egberto, 713-526-5738 to make a comment. We welcome comments and questions. I hope that you all will call. Um, and I so much appreciate your time, Egberto, and I
well,
listen to your
this is
show all the time.
I appreciate you, sis, and this is an important subject that I am glad that we were placed in contact to do this because and by the way, you have an open door into the program whenever you have something to say, because this is important and this is what we're all about. This is what we're supposed to be doing. So,
Well,
muchísimas
thank
gracias
you.
por estar aquí. I am so kind. Thank you so kindly for being here with us. And we'll keep talking. And thank you for the work that you do. It is such important work, my dear.
Se lo agradezco muchísimo. Hasta luego.
Te hablo más tarde. Ciao.
Bye bye.
All right, folks, that was Lizzie, and that was such an important subject for us to cover, folks. That was so important for us to cover. Anyhow, let's continue here. I want to give a big welcome to Jane B in North Carolina, John A, Patricia Pounce, Glenn Ryan, my brother. We're going for some coffee pretty soon. King Mas está aquí, Noeleni, Linda Jean, thank you for being here. Yes, brother, uh, uh, the governor of California is going to be here with Gavin Newsom is going to be here. No, I don't have my invitation yet because the place where they're having it so far, I believe is still hidden. Um, I may go right now. The problem is on Saturday I'm really occupied, so I may not be able to go. All right, let's go to the phones real quick before I do anything else. Let's go to Betty, who's been waiting for quite some time. Come on in, beautiful.
Yeah, the lady that just talked a while ago, she is a great mom.
Yes.
Trump has a split personality, and he walks on his heels. Trump says war up. He puts it up in big letters. What is war? The end of the line for so many. Even if we won, seeing what come home, I did not know them anymore because they were half crazy. On Trump's dump truck loaded rice, I say you forgot who kissed your butt when you were a baby, your mom in America. ICE, what's next in Trump's war? Cripple, kill, rape, and some of the things I never want to see. It would make me crazy. Love y'all.
Love you, Betty. We love us some Betty around here. Let's go to brother Jeff. Come on in, Jeff.
Morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Talk to me, my brother.
Hey, you came into the United States legally, right? You did it the right way, correct? I know you did.
Yes,
You
I
talk
did.
about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I commend you for that. But who are the people? What laws do we pick and choose on immigration? I
That's a
mean,
very that's a good question, Jeff. That's a very good question, right? I wish it were. I wish there was a
If you
black
could
and
choose
white.
laws,
Right. I wish there was a black and white answer for that. There isn't. But I
there
think
is.
you and I would both agree that we should all treat humans like human beings, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And I want you to picture what you've seen with masked men throwing people to the ground. A lot of these people thrown to the ground are the descendants of people who came walk over the border undocumentedly, had children, and because and and brought children with them. These kids knew nothing about what happened, etc., and they're treated that way. Would you want your own siblings to be treated that way?
let me ask you a question though. I
No, no, no.
mean, the reason they like the
I'll
mask.
answer. I'll
No,
answer your
you know.
question if you answer mine first. I just
Okay.
asked you a question. I asked you. I said, would you like to see,
First
no
thing I
matter
would
what
ask
yours?
if I was, I wouldn't,
Go
I
ahead.
wouldn't want that to happen to anybody. But the thing is, though, we don't know the whole story. I mean, you can spin it any which way you want. I think
Okay.
the people that are wearing masks, they're scared, that repercussions of what's going to happen to them.
All
This
right. Let me ask
crazy
you
world
something.
we live in.
I know. I think I know you. I think I know you. I don't think you have it within your. No matter what you're doing or enforcing the law, I don't think you would treat another human being the way these masked thugs have been treating some of these undocumented workers. Am I correct on that?
Who are the thugs? Who do they work for?
Doesn't
They
matter.
work
The
for the
behavior,
they work for the government,
the
right?
yeah, but the behavior that they're doing, I called several police officers thugs. By the way, I also have commended several police officers that have done their job, and in fact, I've gotten police officers commendations for doing a good job. But there are a lot of the police officers that are thugs, and a lot of these ICE people
There
are
are. There's
thugs.
probably thugs out there, and I agree with you. There's going to be thugs always in the police
Right,
department, and you just weed them out.
right. And the problem that
And
we
they'll
have
weed
right now,
themselves out.
you're right. Okay, Jeff, you're right
And
about that. The problem that we have right now, though, Jeff, is a lot of the behavior that we are seeing executed by the masked thugs, and I will not refer to them as federal agents. I must refer to them as thugs because their behavior justifies said nomenclature. Um, Go ahead. Tell me
they'll
what else
weed
you wanted.
themselves out.
Go ahead, sir.
Uh, they'll weed themselves out. I mean, it happens. You're taking instances that are like 1 in 100.
Oh,
One instance out of 100 other good incidents that they did it right. And it's
um,
for you.
not really, not
I
really.
mean,
Let me
one
just
instance
say,
is bad, but it's going to happen statistically wise.
and I can't disagree with you there, but I can say this. Whereas you're saying it rarely happens, I am saying it happens frequently. And you know how I know it happens
Can you give
frequently?
me a
Be-
statistic?
no, no, let me just say this. I am in touch with a lot of folks who are, and we don't see it on TV. In Houston, hasn't been playing a lot of it on TV, but I tell you, we know about it happening because we have the videos constantly. And this is just a stream of these guys. These guys were just acting like your normal
I'd,
cops,
I'd
right?
like to see the statistics.
Okay, I'll try to find some
Yeah,
statistics for you,
find the
but because I
statistics on
think
it.
what I like about you, Jeff, is that I think folks like you, if we can get unbiased from the other side that is spinning in my what I would tell you, they're spinning it incorrectly, then I know because you have a heart, you'll see where we are coming from. Anything else you want to talk about, Jeff?
How do I know you're not spinning it?
And that's right, because here's the thing. What I ask everybody to do who listen to my program is to please double and
Say what
triple
you said.
check me. Right. In other words, I'm not telling you to look at Egberto said this and it's absolutely true. Now look, there are times I'm saying if you don't have the time, my commitment to you is to tell you the truth. And and sometimes it cuts a way that I don't like, but to tell you the truth, that's my commitment to you. I don't think you get that
Well,
commitment when you hear.
I
Go
think
ahead.
statistically it's a small minimum amount and the bad people will weed themselves out,
Hmm.
or the good people will, say, hey, this guy's not doing it right. We need
Well,
to get
look,
rid of him. And
respectfully, Jeff, on that one, I can tell you categorically that you're not correct. Okay, but we'll talk another time, Jeff. Thank you for civil conversation. All right,
all right,
take care, buddy. Let's go to John. Come on in, John.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to Jeff's comment with all due respect. This is one of the bluest cities, but police departments have a tendency to have way too much power. And thank God that people observed what was going on with Derek Chauvin and the murder of George Floyd, and
Right.
they videotaped it, on their phone. So we had that proof that no, this person, Derek Chauvin, was actually orientating people into the police department, and the police department is they're like a mafia. I mean, I regretfully say that about my own city, but no, they are not your friend. There's a lot of corruption, and no matter what police chief came in to try to change that, that is not what had happened here. It's not what had happened in New York City. There are cases across this entire country, and even in very blue municipalities that indicate that police are out of control. And these ICE agents, if you film them, they will go after you. There have been many cases where just a person who is observing what's going on and not a threat is, they're the judge and jury and telling them they can't do that, and arresting them or detaining them, and then instead of making a record of it, they just detain them just to discourage what they as a citizen have a right to do. And I'm tired of, there's just a few bad apples. That argument, that just is not the case at all. So, that's all I have to
Well,
say.
let me just say this, John. It's not only that when they claim there are few bad apples, you're enforcing the law, and you as a police officer, you may not be doing the bad things, but you see and you know of these other officers doing the bad things, and you just stay quiet. As I
Mhm.
see it, you're just as guilty because you're the enforcer of the
Yes.
law. You are an enforcer of the law, and you're correct. I mean, look, like I said, you know, I stay away from the criminal justice system in the United States of America, period. I do everything to stay away from the criminal justice system. But here is the thing. Uh, these and also whenever I find a cop that does something well, does it good, and I try my best to give high praise and commendation, because you hope that by doing that it rubs off onto others to say I want to have that feeling as well. But there are too many of them that are bad, and statistically it's not just a small amount. You just watch how they come
Yes.
and they talk to you, and you see that.
Yes.
And until people learn that, it'll be
Yes.
same. Thank you, John, for calling in with your comments, sir. Have a
Mhm.
wonderful day. All right, let's go to Bart. Come on in, Bart.
Yes, sir. It's really simple. All you have to do is comply with what the law enforcement officer is asking. Put your hands up. You don't want to get cracked in the back of the head with a billy club? Lay down on the ground. Do what they say. If you're innocent, you'll be released. Plain and simple.
Well, there's a thing called the Constitution, and everybody has their rights. I know a lot of folks on the right don't believe in that, but people have their rights as far as what to do. So to just to just release your freedom to a police officer, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. That's called slavery. And what's interesting is somebody
Obey
like yourself.
the request of law enforcement.
Let me continue.
Obey
I,
the
I'm
request.
I I imagine somebody like yourself, if a police officer came to you after you have done nothing wrong and still pressured you, you would react. I've seen it too many times. The only problem is this: I went ahead and scoured videos, right? Legitimate videos to see how people are treated by cops, right? And folks like you can actually get away with a whole lot with cops. You can cuss the cop out, you can break a glass, you can threaten to hit the cop, all of that, and you're treated with kid
I would never
gloves.
do that.
I don't
I
know that.
comply with an
I don't.
officer when he asks me to do
I don't
something.
know that. You many times you call here so belligerently. I don't know what you would do. Be honest with you. But but that said,
Give them my
um,
driver's license, insurance, just follow their
anyway,
orders, and I have no problem.
anyway, let me go to somebody else. Bart, thank you for calling, and I got I got your notice. Okay, you have a great day, my brother. We'll talk later. All right, come on in. Come on in, Harry. Line number two.
Good morning, Roberto. Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Miami. Well, what I can say is about this sort of thing. When you talked about this thing, it is the culture in the police department, in the ICE department of hate. It's not like was it John that said it's not just a few bad apples. That culture is encouraged. I even mentioned that in the chat. If you go and read that, you'll see that I mentioned those things. It's just it's just unfortunate that because of people's pigmentation, they get attacked. And what Jeff needs to look at is democracy now. Amy Goodman is talking about these times, and she talked about it again yesterday. These statistics and these incidents that are happening all over this country. They even interviewed President convict Trump. They asked him, has your administration accomplished what they wanted to do as far as getting undocumented people out of the country? He said they haven't gone far enough. Now that's encouraging more violence, and that's why a lot of these police and ICE thugs are out of control. And you got the wrong people, you got psychotic people doing this thing. It hurt. It hurt, and it's just wrong. It
Thank you,
definitely needs to
Harry.
look at those boxes out.
Thank you, Harry. Let's go ahead. You're a good man, Harry. Let's go to Eddie. Come on in, Eddie.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Talk to me, my brother.
Well, I think this is a good discussion. From my perspective, is where does the blame lie when ICE comes to a courthouse or a jailhouse for a simple handoff, and the jail lets that person go? Court lets them slide out the back door, and now they literally.
Go
And I
ahead,
think what's
Eddie.
happening.
Eddie, are you
I
on a
think what's
speakerphone?
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, take the speakerphone off because you're breaking up.
Yeah. How's that?
Yeah, that's better. Go ahead.
When your last caller said there's hate, I mean, I would put hate on both sides of the equation. We have normalized this mob mentality where ICE is bad and evil, and it's okay to fight and resist and gang up on them. And obviously, situations are going to escalate. They're there to enforce a law. Other people are trying to prevent them from enforcing a law, whether they agree with it or not. That's their job.
Now, let me just say, first of all, ICE as an institution is in fact evil, and I'm a progressive host. I'm an activist. I can tell you, ICE as an institution is evil. There is no, I mean, that is not debatable. If you're a religious if you're a religious tenant, what they do is evil. If you're not a religious tenant, the observation, it is evil. Not because it's legal makes it not evil. Remember, so you're correct in that it is legal, but what they're doing is evil. And what I am saying is there has to be retribution after this administration is over that created an evil institution over the people, and that occurs through the ballot box, not violence. But it is an evil organization. I mean, if we were to take If we were to take that to the next step, let me just tell you, Eddie, if we were to take this to the next step, right? We are given our actions against the undocumented worker today is giving Native Americans the traction that they need to come after the settlers of this country. Okay? And I know people going to say the length of time or whatever, but when you take out humanity out of it, which is what ICE as an institution does, it is what is given sanction to potential violence. Because at some time, Native Americans are going to say, okay, if you think it is so bad what these people have done, let's go back a few years and get retribution for what was done to us. So it's a slippery slope. Continue, my brother.
So how do we enforce immigration then? It
Let me
wasn't
tell you
always
what.
like this.
Let me tell you
Normalized.
how. Let me just tell you how. There's a good answer for that. There's a perfect answer for that. Let me tell you how hard it is to be an undocumented worker to get over here. Undocumented person to get over here. You have to be good at what you do. You have to be great to get around all the things that they have. Well, what we do is we find out what has made those people come over here, okay, and we solve the problem where the problem is. You see, Americans look at the problem, not Americans. Many here in America look at the problem as these people are rushing into the country to take over. That's not what's occurring. Our policies throughout Central America and the Caribbean are creating that exodus that's coming over to this country. You solve that problem, you don't have the issue with immigration. But right now, even as we are doing this problem, we don't we have plants rotting in the field. We have people not going to work to do the nursing care and all these things that these folks are doing. This is a disruption that we are all, you and I both, Eddie, are going to pay for dearly because we have an incompetence in the lead right now. But the numbers are going to come out pretty soon. Finish up for me, Eddie.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I mean, we know that immigration has been enforced for decades
Hmm.
peacefully, and I
Yes.
think it is this mentality that they're evil, that they are hateful, and it's okay to resist is just stirring up more violence.
Well, they don't you agree that they're evil, sir?
No, I think if you're not in the country legally,
Okay.
you should be removed.
So then,
And
let
I
me say,
your
what
point
will you?
about
Go ahead. Go ahead.
your point about fixing the other countries, that's
Hmm.
fair. What do we do today?
Today, what
Somebody's
we
here
do?
illegally, they don't belong here, they should be removed.
No, they don't. They shouldn't be removed. If somebody is here, they should not be removed. They showed the courage to get here. Let me tell you what I mean by this, brother. Should you be removed
So
from
let
America?
me ask
No, no.
a more personal story.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
My best friend married a girl from England. He
Yes.
spent 2 years and 10 grand to bring her here legally.
Okay.
Why should he have had to wait, spend money, and do that when somebody else can just come across the border?
Well, Elon Musk made $1 trillion for doing nothing. I mean, life isn't. That's how life works out.
No, 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 no.
His, yeah, his her process for coming here, my brother. Her process for coming here was to pay some money to get here. That way, following the rules.
To do it
Other
legally.
people's, yes, legally. Other people's way of getting here was to do it in an undocumented fashion. That's just
No, no,
free.
don't say undocumented. That's part of the problem. To do it illegally, to
Well, let me
cheat the
tell you.
line, jump
Well,
in
again,
first.
I am not going to say that, and let me tell you why, brother. And this is important because you want to decide where we start time. You want to decide that we start time in 1776. I want to start time with all time. And what I'm saying is, under your tenet, I will sanction the native people to look at you and say, okay, Eddie, I'm deporting you out of these lands. You wouldn't like that, would you?
So under your under your thought, then we have no borders, we have no countries.
No,
People
no,
should
that's
be
not.
free to go
No,
wherever they want to
under
be.
my thought. No, under my thoughts, what we would do is those people who had the courage and the ability, whether they paid it legally or not to get here, hey, they got here. Just like the pilgrims got here and stayed, these other people got here. Let them stay. Let's do what's necessary to enforce the borders, but let's not disrupt the lives of citizens that are doing good work. That's all I'm saying. I got to go. Eddie, we can have this conversation continuously. I'll have it with you again. And thank you again for having it in a civil manner. All right.
No, always enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right. Let's go to Ingrid, line number 6. And I'm going to limit to 1 minute,
Good
guys.
morning.
Good morning, sis. How you doing?
This is my thing. There's no morale. Let's say you have a person on death row.
Hmm.
This is his last day. They let him get up. They let him shower. They feed him a meal. They let him pray. They lay him on the table. And then what do? They take his life.
Right.
All with morality and dignity. There's decency and dignity in taking this man's life. But with
Wow.
this ICE, there's no morality, there's no dignity, there's no respect. Anything can be done decent and in order. And with ICE, there's no decency, there's no order. You're taking these people's lives, but do you have to do it like this, in this manner?
No.
We're not saying that immigration laws shouldn't be enforced, but there's a way to do it. And these people have not been given a decent way to do it. So for everybody that's calling in, that's trying to twist this poor behavior, shame on them.
Thank you, sis. Have a good one. Just want to let you know that our 2 teachers are in the house, Jacqueline Campisi and LBW. Thank you, teachers. You know I love you for being here. Let's go to Joni. Come on in, Joni.
Try to make this quick. So it is unlawful to pick up and hold brown citizens, for sure, and put them in concentration camps. I heard a story on NPR last week that there's a study of white supremacist groups, and there's something called 14 words. You'll see the number 14 and 8 on tattoos and such. The 14 words, I think, if I'm correct, you can look it up, say, we need to secure a future for our children and for the white race. So that's what they're using to recruit some of these people. And the recruiting site uses those words, and the words heritage and homeland, H being the 8th letter, and double H's are HH or Heil Hitler. They're using these as recruiting tools. They are not afraid of citizens. They are afraid of being held accountable by laws, which is why they're putting on masks. How do you know if it's not a local gang or criminal if they have a mask on? You have a right to know who's arresting you. That's why they have badge numbers. And I have to commend the judges trying to uphold the law and are very, very brave. They are threatened daily and sent pizzas in the name of another judge's murdered son, etc. They're constantly threatened, and the threats are not on an equal basis with the left.
Joni, I got to cut
hide
you because we're
they're
out of time.
coward.
We're
Okay.
out of time, Joni. Thank you, sis. All right, everybody, 15 seconds. Augie, 15 seconds.
Yeah. They're arresting people that are trying to do stuff legally. These callers that say they're illegal, they're arresting people that have a court date and a court time, and they're going to do illegal. And you have these ICE agents arresting people that are doing it legally.
Exactly.
And because you have uniform on, law enforcement, military, judges' robes, clerical garb, doesn't mean that you're a good person and that you're doing illegal.
Thank you, Augie. Got to go. Thank you, my brother. Let's go to Jimmy. Come on in, Jimmy. 15 seconds.
This Sunday, the Houston Peace and Justice Center is having their annual Peacemaker Awards. It's at the Dominican Sisters on Alameda from 2 to 5 p.m. I urge your Houston area audience to look up the Houston Peace and Justice Center, make your reservations, and come to that meeting. You're more effective when you work with a large group.
Absolutely. Thank you
I'll
very
be
much
there.
for that,
I hope
Jimmy.
to see more people there.
Thank you, my brother. Let's go to Donald. 15 seconds.
Hey, Berto Ross, what are you painting today?
Hey, there are evil in those cages that do not need to be around normal, law abiding people, and cops have a very difficult job. Even when I was a bad person, they still treated me with respect. As long as you obey them, they don't just beat on you.
All right, brother. I'm glad that's your experience. I've seen otherwise, but we'll talk another time. Donald, got to go to Alan. Alan, 15 seconds.
A really revolutionary book that I've just gotten is called The Science of Revenge: Understanding the World's Deadliest Addiction and How to Overcome It. It's by James Kimmel Jr. And tomorrow, Governor of California is going to be here at a site on the North Loop. So look for that.
Thank you very much, Alan. Anyway, folks, let me throw it to the studio.
I got nothing.
I actually like Trump was in competition with Obama about how many people that he deported because that was his big thing. It was done, a lot of us didn't know about it because he did it right. He started with people in prison that were here illegally. He did them. People that, you know, they had all different things to go through, but they turned people back at the border. They did so many things, and they had the most people pretty much, how do you say, deported. So Trump is competing with that, but he's doing it in a very brutal way. ICE wears masks, and you say they might be scared, that's why they're doing it. Law officers do not wear masks. Police officers, FBI, DEA, they don't wear masks. And ICE also, they hire people who have not been completely vetted, people who were cops who actually lost their jobs, which is a big thing because it's really hard for a cop to lose their job. And they hire them. They hire people who are not completely vetted, criminals, all kinds of things. So
Gotta go, Mayana. Thank you, sis.
yeah, I'm sorry. It's a lot to say.
No,
So
let me just say, I want to end with LBW's words, which is very important. No one is illegal on stolen land. No one is illegal on stolen land. Love you all. Please watch the rest of the show. politicsandright.com/newsletter. politicsandright.com/newsletter. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what?